you with a video ripped straight off of Extraordinary's stream. So maybe in the future we'll do a video where I have the audio for the video on, so I can kind of get a little bit of the thoughts from the player as they make their decisions. But this one's going to be silent for now, and we'll see how this works out. So this is going to be the Dagon Consume deck, and he noted in the description that he got bombed by about 3,000 viewers from Swimstream. So we'll see. The pressure's on. We'll see if Extraordinary can hold up to the pressure. We're going to have some kind of King Brand deck. I think it's looking to be Pain Skellige. This is the new Pain Skellige opening, where they will play a Wild Boar or Light Longship and use Morkvarg to power that in case they don't have a Greatsword. So yeah, we'll go ahead and see Wild Boar here. And what's nice about Wild Boar is it strengthens the unit. So when it strengthens the unit, it has synergy with Morkvarg because he loses half of his strength when he goes to the bin. So we'll see Greatsword come down, bringing the score up 23 to 18 in favor of the Skellige player. Now, notably, Vran is counting down, so that'll be an extra 5 points at the start of Extraordinary's turn, assuming that the egg lives. So we'll see. I really like the idea of either playing another Kaleno Harpy, because that does take the lead, or playing Woodland Spirit for a large tempo swing and try to induce a pass from the Skellige player. So we'll see what Extraordinary decides to do. And it's really funny if you look at the MMR differentials. Extraordinary is 3K, and this other player is 4,300. This other Mago GX is the number 5 player in the world at the recording of this video. So pressure's really on with 3,000 extra viewers watching and playing against the number 5 player in the world. He's going to have a lot of pressure on him to try to play correctly. We'll see if he cracks under the pressure. I'm interested to see what the Skellige player wants to play here. And we'll see a Clan Brokar Hunter to disrupt the egg synergy. And I think that's okay. I think that Extraordinary is looking at a pass here, and I love this pass. That's 10 points up. It's going to be a struggle, actually, for the Skellige player to make a low tempo play here, I think, unless they have an adrenaline rush. Okay, so we're going to see Ekimara for a little bit of carryover here. I like this play, I think. It takes the lead in one card, so even though the Skellige player is 2 cards down, it's got a little bit of carryover, and it's going to have a ton of carryover via Morkvarg and Olgierd, also combining with that Ekimara, for a total of, I think, 15 points, if I did my math correctly. That'll be 15 points coming from the Skellige player on carryover, and we'll see if the Skellige player wants to push the round or just dry pass and force the monster player to overcome that 15 points. Because if the Skellige player dry passes and forces the monster player to overcome those 15 points, that's probably minimum 2 cards off of the Dagon player, so that'll bring the third round to even, with the monster player playing first, so that might be something that the Skellige player has the option to do. But instead we'll go ahead and see Light Longship here, and I think I like this play. Light Longship is great with Olgierd because Olgierd is kind of disposable in the way that you get Olgierd back later anyway. Now 21 points is going to be a bit tough to overcome. We'll see Kayran come down and eat the Light Longship, and this is just a fantastic play. It'll break up the Light Longship's energies, which is really what the Skellige player is leaning pretty hard on. It'll put 10 power on the board, take away 6 power from our opponents for a total swing of 16. That'll bring the score up to 15-10 in favor of the Pain Skellige player. We'll see Priestess come down and redeploy the Light Longship, and also triggering Ceres. So Ceres will add another 7 points to the board, bringing the grand total up to 29 points. That's going to be a 19-point deficit that the monster player will have to overcome. So we'll see if Extraordinary has the ability to overcome this in an efficient manner. Now, I think I like this Dagon play because you want to play Fog in a round where you know it's going to go long. And with the Skellige player committing Priestess for Light Longship again, that indicates, at least to me, that the Skellige player isn't going to just pass somewhere randomly in the middle. The Skellige player is going to try to bleed a lot of cards and keep pushing this advantage. You'll see a 22-point deficit coming in after that Madman Lugos play, which is going to be quite tough for the Monsters player to overcome. The Monsters player can probably overcome it in 2 cards, but most likely it would take 3. So already we're seeing a very, very tough hill for Extraordinary to climb. Like this, we'll see Toad Prince. Toad Prince will draw a card and probably consume the Imperial Manticore. That is why you see Imperial Manticore. You might be wondering why that card's in there. That is strictly for Toad Prince to consume, and also Katakan can consume it as well. You just need something with some really high base strength to power those cards. So we might see Succubus come down here and try to break up the Light Longship Greatsword synergy. Taking away Greatsword as an option for the Skellige player to resurrect later by taking it with Succubus is a really, really strong option here, I think. Instead, we'll see a deploy of a Necker. Necker being currently 7 power. That'll bring the score to 42-36. Skellige player still up, but only by 5 points. That's really closed the gap from that 22-point deficit we saw not too long ago. Notably, with the Skellige player playing first, the Skellige player is going to be down 2 cards, which is going to be relevant here, I think. But as long as the Skellige player can stay ahead, we're going to bleed the Monsters player pretty hard. The only thing that I don't like about bleeding the Monsters player, and, you know, Mago is going to be one of the best players that you're going to find, but what I don't like about bleeding our opponent here is I feel like you're enabling the Monsters player to deploy their carryover. Now, you're going to probably be under the assumption at this point, if you're the Skellige player, that there is no carryover from the Monsters player. But it turns out that that's not true, because the Monsters player has been sandbagging this Ekimara and this Kaleno Harpy. We'll see Ekimara come down to reduce the deficit to only 6 points again. And we'll see if the Skellige player wants to pass and try to take a card off of the Monsters player. The Monsters player very smartly holding Ekimara and Kaleno Harpy in hand so that the Skellige player does not know about the carryover. The idea behind holding those cards is that if you're holding them, we can now take the lead back with just Ekimara, and we have surprise carryover via the Ekimara, and we also have Necker coming in as well on the following round. Ekimara will come down. Ekimara will eat a thing. It doesn't matter as long as it's not the Necker. And we will go on to the next round. Now, the Monsters player is going to have to play first this round, but does have the advantage of the Ekimara and the Necker carryover, which will be slightly mitigated by the 4 points of carryover via Markvarg and Olgierd. And I think that Katakan was a very, very good draw here. I would like to see the mulligan of the Seleno Harpy. I feel like almost every other card in the deck is better than that, but you have the chance of drawing both Harpy and Necker if you mulligan that Seleno Harpy, and this is just a disaster. We see Nostradinary opt to mulligan and does draw the Necker, which is very unfortunate. It was statistically unlikely, but getting rid of that Frightener may prove to be quite useful, as any one card that Frightener could draw would not equal 12 points. So Frightener is actually a negative point play, and being that the Monsters player already has access to the last play, it's a really good idea to mulligan the Frightener, even if it did draw a bad card like Necker. We'll see a Clan Drummond Warrior come down. That's a new card. It's a 9-power unit that just searches your library for a card and discards a random or a bronze card of your choice from it. So we'll see the second Necker come down. And I guess Necker's not actually as bad of a draw as I was making it out to be, because we'll be able to consume. Since we don't have a thing to consume our first Necker, having that second Necker in our library is not relevant. The 8-power coming from that Necker, though, is much more than he'd be getting from other units, unless instead of Necker he pulled Fran Warrior. So let's see what we have here. We'll see the Skellige player look to assemble the Greatsword combo again via Priestess of Freya. We'll see Saris come out, bringing the score up to 33-32 in favor of the Skellige player. With only a 1-point deficit and being the card up, I feel like this is actually favoring the Monsters player. With Succubus still available, and Katakan, and Marigold's Hailstorm, there is a lot of very large things here available for this Katakan to eat, bringing the point deficit pretty high. Go ahead and consume that Imperial Manticore. That will pump both the Neckers and bring our Katakan up to 17. We'll see Sigdrifa come down. Sigdrifa will resurrect Jane Ferret. That will do two things, so we'll get an 18-point silver off of Sigdrifa and be able to trigger our Greatsword the next turn. But we'll see a concession to the Succubus, as it's very unlikely that the Skellige player would have been able to deal with that Succubus, and that Succubus was going to take 18 points, causing a 36-point swing. So thank you, Nogstraordinary, for this video. If you'd like to check out Nogstraordinary's stream, you can find him over on Twitch. If you have a video that you'd like to submit, you can go ahead and record a video and submit a link to heyimmawolfgwent@gmail.com. If you have any questions about how to record a game, you can find a video on my channel about how to record a game and upload it and send me a link. So if you have any questions about that, you can find all your answers in that video. Thank you, everybody. This is heyimmawolf, signing off.